Hello Lolas, welcome back to my channel guys. If you have not given this video a thumbs up or subscribed, please do that so you don't forget. Click the bell, make sure you click all on the bell so that you can get notifications when I post on my community tab, when I do a live stream, when I do a video. So yeah, I was sitting here and I was like trying to take a few pictures of her, and I was just like, I should probably just go ahead and turn on the camera, because I was thinking when I was looking at her, and I'm like, I love my Gigi. She is a keeper for me, but I was thinking to myself, like, it's funny because I painted this baby like long time ago, and when I say long time ago, I'm thinking she's been here for at least a year. And yeah, I know she's been here at least a year. And I painted her a little bit here, a little bit there. And so until she was to a place where I could keep her, because I'd sold enough other babies so that I could be able to keep this one. But in between that, I've painted so many other babies. So a lot have changed. Like, I've grown from, one paint job to the next, to the next. However, the funny thing is, collecting these babies, like I said, sometimes it's a win, sometimes it's not. Sometimes it's like, it's not a bad paint job or a bad baby, but it's just not for me type thing. And I'm just talking when you're collecting babies. And the funny thing is like, every baby is different, every experience is different, and it's very hard to rate an artist's work off of one person experience or one thing. Like, someone that collect from the artist like all the time, I feel like is a more valuable source than someone that collects one time. And I'm gonna tell you why I say that, because that artist might have just had a one-off experience, or they might have just got lucky that time, or that might be a baby that they really concentrated on and they put their all in that baby, and all their other babies are trash. It could work both ways. Then if they're anything like me, I paint almost every single baby different. And when I say different, like, I use different techniques, different styles, different this, different that. Only thing is consistent is the type of products that I use, as far as the paint, the painting and stuff like that. I always use smooth on products. The 9 little colors that they give you in that little tube, I use those. I don't use pre-mixed colors. And I use the same exact, not same exact mix, but the same exact colors in almost all my babies, whether they're, white, black, or otherwise. Or to look like white, black, or otherwise, because of course these babies don't have DNA, so they are not anything of the sort. But so it's a lot to unpack here. Okay, so let's start with one. Like I said, the reason why sometimes you got to be careful, if you really like a baby and what you're seeing on camera you really like, but then you talk to your girlfriend and she like, oh yeah, so and so got a baby from them and they said it was too red, or they didn't like it, or they didn't like the texture, or this or that. Some of the questions you might want to ask is, when did they get the baby? You know, how long ago did the artist paint it? Because that may have been a baby that they painted 5 years ago. At that time, how many dolls had that artist painted at the time? Because, you know, and then here's another thing that's kind of tricky about that. I have dolls out there that are like, and also and not just me, artists that I've collected from, I've seen from their older work to their newer work, and I've liked the older work. Some artists, I like their older work better than their newer work, because sometimes artists change their flow and their style because they're trying to keep up with what's popping, and then they lose their momentum, or you know, or their life change and they're under so much stress, or not under, you know, or they're just carefree and don't care, or they get a big name and they start doing less with their work. It's a lot of different things that could play part in the reason why an artist's work changes. But I may be a bigger fan of the older work. Then there's these things like, for instance, there's certain babies that I might have did less on as far as detail because I was newer, but it looked better or as nice, or it worked for that baby, because sometimes less is best. So with that being said, that one particular doll might be worth just as much as that artist's new work to me. So that's why, like, a lot of times I always say you gotta put your own thoughts in stuff, and sometimes you have to, you just have to experience it on your own. Sometimes you gotta take that chance, despite what your friend tell you, despite what, you know, the vlogger says. You gotta go take your chance on that artist's work if you feel drawn to it and you really like it, because art is a feeling, and if you feeling it, like you it's something about it that you really like, go for it. Because I have dolls in my collection that none of my friends, you know, my close friends might like, but for me, they're my favorite babies. You know what I mean? And so it really can't, to me, it doesn't matter if they like it, because it's what I like, and it's my money, it's my collection. I don't live online. I don't live on camera. I do these videos, I pop off, but my dolls are with me all the time. So, you know, that's one thing. Then you also have people that, you know, when they fall out with an artist or a sculptor or whatever, they go to bad mouthing them, they go to trashing them. And you got some people just butt wipes. Like, they just nitpick. They don't understand that this is art. You know, it's handmade all the way around. It's handmade from the sculpting to the pouring. You know, even though I'm sure they use some type of devices to pour, but there's someone sitting there doing this, not in a factory. And when they're painted, they're hand painted, they're hand rooted. So there's going to be some discrepancies. There are going to be some things that may not look, you know, picture perfect. You might see a paint stroke somewhere. And that's just how it is. It's art. But you may get this collector that is like, I don't like that. You know what I mean? Like, they are expecting factory work on a handmade product. And so when they give their review, that's how their review is going to be based off of. I didn't like this because, you know, you could see this, or this happened, or da 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 da. It's just like, even with people experiences, people get online, they'll talk about, you know, how the artist never did what they asked, they didn't get what they wanted, all this stuff, but they never tell you how they started out with one order with the artist. They kept messaging the artist every 5 minutes. They kept changing their order every 5 minutes, until it confuses, you know, the artist, or it stresses the artist out, and now you're getting stress work. Like, people, you know, have a tendency of making you side with them when that's the only side you know. You know what I mean? So you gotta, you know, you gotta be mindful of that. But despite all of the different things of getting to the point of getting your baby, when you find the one, oh my gosh, it is so amazing. Even if it's not one that you keep in your collection forever, but let's just say you find you finally collect, you've been looking to collect these dolls for the longest, and you finally take that leap, and you and you get one. It is so amazing. Like, I don't know, I just feel like this hobby is like, I have other hobbies, but this hobby I feel like is the most rewarding, the most relaxing. It just, it's like the gift that keeps on giving. Because when I first bring a baby home, or if I'm painting it, once I complete that baby and it's ready for dressing and all that stuff, I'm in love with it. Once it's completed, I'm like, yes, I completed it. And then when I get it dressed, it's like a whole nother yes. You know, oh, it looks so cute dressed. And then later you find the cutest little sleeper, or the cutest little romper, or the cutest little sandals, or the cutest little shoes. And it just keep going on and on and on. And every time you change that baby into something different, you fall in love all over again. That's just how it works. That is the beauty of this hobby. And then, this may or may not happen, but when it does, and you meet someone in the community that collects like you collect, or, you know, think like you think as far as towards the hobby and stuff, you end up having even more fun, because now you got somebody to share it with. And, you know, it's just, like I said, it's the gift that keeps on giving. And then there's the doll shows and the meetups and all that type of stuff, where you just kind of share your dolls and stuff like that. And then people do their Instagram and the TikTok videos and stuff. I don't know about you guys, but I love this. I was a blogger for several years, and I've told this story 1,000,001 times, where I used to blog about relationships and fiction stories and stuff like that. And I really, really enjoyed it. In fact, I miss it. And I was just saying the other day that I need to go back to writing. But I ended up getting into the collecting, and it started taking up my time. I don't know, some of you guys may remember, long back when I had, I think, Jacory. I would do a video every morning, even before him. But he was like my morning baby that I would change every morning on the changing table. And I started doing that and doing my videos, and there was hardly, I had like 5 subscribers. But I would still keep making my videos, and I would reply to the comments and stuff like that. And it just felt nice, you know, that there were other doll collectors out there that actually liked dolls. And so, you know, other adults that like dolls, because, you know, of course, all little girls, most little girls love dolls, you know, when we're little. So it was, you know, it was so fun, but I ended up spending so much time, and I started following videos, and one of my favorite YouTubers at the time was Pooh Bear 253, and I would watch all her videos and stuff. And then I didn't have as much time for writing. So my blogs started getting less and less and few and far between. I even started getting messages like, hey, where you at? Well, you ain't put up a blog in a while. And I tried to keep up with it the best I could. And then eventually I just lost the urge to do that, because I was so, you know, consumed with this hobby. But, you know, since then, you know, every now and then I want to write, and eventually I went and I deleted my whole entire blog. I wish I wouldn't have done that, though, because I lost a lot of pieces that I don't have the hard copies to. But nevertheless, I just found that this hobby just really held my attention, and I'm one of those people that I get bored quick. I leave stuff alone. But I think I've stuck with this hobby the longest. I know I have the longest I've stuck with anything. In fact, it's about to well, I got some more years. I was about to say it's about to go longer than my marriage, but lasted. But anyway, but I've stuck to it for a long time. Now I am getting to a point where I'm kind of like, you know, ooh, what should I do? Should I just, you know, go underground and just be a private collector, you know, type thing? But I say that, but I can't see myself leaving, you know, the community completely. That just probably would never happen. But I don't know, who knows? The way that these people mindset is set up these days, something may just make me want to not do it anymore. But anyway, I don't know where we got off to that, but my whole point is, and I don't like the way I styled her hair just now, but my whole point is just that we can have reliable resources. We can look at all the videos. We can look at all the pictures. But some stuff, unfortunately, with these dolls are going to require us to just bump our head a few times. So don't kick yourself if you buy something, you don't like it, and it takes you a while to sell it. Because it happens. And also, when I was very new, and still even to this day, I'm learning now when is the slow periods of the season. A lot of people are having a hard time selling dolls right now. But during the doll shows, stuff slow down, and then when kids are going back to school and leading up to the holidays, it gets crazy. But then probably around fall time, I think it's going to start to pick back up, because people start buying towards the end of the year, people start getting their Christmas bonuses, and then you run into tax season. So I didn't know that as a collector. So when I would see, you know, dolls sitting on the market longer, it's also a perfect time to buy. You know how people wait for the market when they say it's a buyer's market, it's a seller's market? It's the same with dolls. So it's really a good time to buy right now while people are having a hard time selling their dolls, because they lower the prices. I have been blessed so far to not have that much of a problem with my personal dolls that I've painted. But it might be a little lag. You know, normally, let's say if something normally sells in, you know, 24 to 48 hours for me, it might take, you know, 72 hours or something like that. But like, and, you know, I'm sure if I had like a full body up, I haven't had a full body up for sale in a while too. So if I put a full body up for sale right now, I'm sure it'll probably take me a little bit longer, because of the amount of the doll. So, that's another thing. But don't get discouraged or get frustrated and be like, oh, I can't be in this hobby. It's just a slow time. But if you're a buyer, then you will catch great deals at this time. Now, it doesn't mean for you to go and try to beat people down on price. I mean, I don't mind if somebody asks me. I'm never offended if somebody asks me, like, are you willing to take XYZ? Because you never know. I might be in that spot where I'm like, yeah, I'll take it. You know what I mean? Because, I'm just ready to, sell the doll. Or I'm looking for a quick sale. And I may go for it. So I don't ever get offended when someone do that. Now I get offended if every time you reach out to me, you trying to lowball me, but I see you constantly buying other, other dolls in the same price range or more. Then I feel like that's an insult to me. I feel like you're saying my work isn't worth it to you. So in that case, I am a little bit insulted, and if I be honest, I prefer to sell to someone that values my work the way that I value my work. But at the same time, money is money, and if you have the money of what I'm asking for and willing to take, I'll sell to you too. But you aren't my first preference. I'll be honest. Now, someone that just comes to me and be like, "Hey, are you willing to take this?" Because let's say it's a very expensive doll, and this is close to their range of what they're used to paying, and that's what they're offering me. I'm not offended. I understand. I get it, baby. And if I'm willing to sell at that price, it's all good. I'm talking about, you guys know know what I'm talking about, or the who's. I'm not one specific person, but in general, the type of people I'm talking about. And so yeah, it's ideal for artists. We like to see our work stay in a collector's collection, forever, if that was a possibility, or for a long time. But floating is not so necessarily bad. Sometimes we feel uneasy when the work is getting swapped off or whatever. I don't as much anymore. I'm getting used to it. I haven't in the past. I didn't have people selling my work like that, but my work have gotten into a couple collectors' hands that do buy and sell a lot, and so they've kind of conditioned me to seeing my work up for sale again or something like that. And it kind of sometimes it's not necessarily a bad thing, because sometimes people that wouldn't have approached you get your work second market, and then they realize they actually really like it, and then they become your customers. So it can work in your benefit when your work is being sold off. And for the people that get offended when people sell their work for more than what they paid them, then you should not be getting upset, in my opinion. Well, I can't tell nobody how to feel and how to handle their emotions. I'm not going to say that. Take that back. I'm going to say me. I don't get offended, because if my work sells more than what I sold it for, then that means there's value in my work. I'm not going to up my prices necessarily, because my collectors are able to get more for my work. I'm not going to up it, because that's a good thing. I want my collectors to be able to sell my work when they need to sell it, because that's going to help them come back to buy a new doll, or to buy a new doll from someone else. And so we got to start thinking more long term, and not selfishly, and put our ego and pride aside when it comes to how this industry works with the buying and selling thing. Now if someone's buying from me and they're haggling me to sell to them low just so they can flip my dog, that's a problem. Now that's a problem. If, that's going to make me feel some type of way towards the buyer. Now, if I, like, for instance, they come to me and they always got, a story or whatever, and I sell to them less just so they know that they already got a buyer to pay more. That's different. You know what I mean? But I can understand that. I've seen situations where that's happened. But a lot of artists, successful artists, don't want to see their work being sold for way less. But, you know, there's that. So, again, key things to take away from this video, and don't get stuck on the bubble gum, is really quick recap. One, reliable sources are only as reliable as your own self and knowing what you really want. And sometimes you have to take that leap and take an experience for yourself. Two, one experience does not speak for all, because these are handmade and somewhat one of a kind, because every baby could be done different and an artist can have a good day and a bad day. And then there's artists that are consistent, and that's what I look at. Are they usually consistently good? Then that's who I'm, going with. If they had one or two I didn't really like, I'll excuse that. And the other thing is knowing when to buy and sell. Sometimes we have dolls in our collection, and I didn't talk on this, but I'll talk on this a little later. We have dolls in our collection that we hold on to for dear life just because, and you wait so long until nobody's looking for them anymore, and then you lost a lot of money knowing you didn't like it from the day you got it. And two, sometimes you sell too quick and then people feel like something's wrong with the doll, because people don't have the mental capacity a lot of time just to think that maybe it just wasn't particularly their type, their style. But also know that this is buyer's season right now, and there's a lot of good deals out because people are struggling to pay for their are struggling to get the doll sold. It's not, unfortunately for sellers, because I know a lot of us need the money for bills and to keep striving and being an artist. But support them. If you like their work and they got a lower price, it's a great time to jump on it and also experience work possibly from artists that you normally wouldn't buy because the price is normally higher. And then, later down the road, you might see that it's worth what they actually normally ask for their work. So there's that. I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I will talk to you at a later date.